Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So what is mourning now? أن تترك الطيب والزينة والكحل والدهن المطيبة وغير المطيب إلا من عذر, and that he should leave out perfume and adornment and surma and perfumed oil and non-perfumed oil, except out of an excuse. And in Jami says except out of pain. And the mean والمعنى فيه الوجهان, right? And the meaning in it is two. There's two here. Why must you leave this now? There's two reasons. أحدهما ما ذكرناه من إظهار التأسف. One of them too is what you mentioned, that of showing regret. So why must she leave adornment now in the period of iddat? Is because she's showing regret of losing the nikah, of being out of nikah, which is a means of a protection. والثاني أن هذه الأشياء دواعي الرغبة فيها. And second is that all these things will invite desire in her. She's going to make herself up and doll herself up. Other men will want her, right? وهي ممنوعة عن النكاح, and she's prohibited from making nikah. فتجتنبها, so she will abstain from it. كي لا تصير ذريعة إلى الوقوع في المحرم, so that it doesn't become a means of falling into haram. You understand it? In other words, either she falls directly into haram, or either they're doing the wrong things way, in the sense that they're already fixing a nikah now during iddat, which you're not supposed to do, right? وقد صح أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم لم يأذن للمعتدة في الاكتحال, right? And it is sahih in the hadith that Nabi did not give permission for the person, a woman in iddat, to apply surma. والدهن لا يعري عن نوع طيب, and applying oil is not free from a type of perfume. وفيه زينة الشعر, and in applying oil also is beautifying the hair. ولهذا يمنع المحرم عنه, and therefore the muhrim is also prohibited from applying oil. قال إلا من عذر لأن فيه ضرورة, and they say except out of an excuse, because now there's a necessity that you need oil. Now you're not going to put oil on your head, you're going to get a headache or something. You understand it? والمراد الدواء لا الزينة, and the intended here is using now the oil as a dawa, as a medicine, and not because of beautification, right? ولو اعتادت الدهن فخافت وجعا فإن كان ذلك أمرا ظاهرا يباح لها. And if she is used to using oil and she fears now pain, then if it is a clear matter, in other words, she's genuine. If you don't drink your tea in the morning, you're going to sit at a headache all day. You know that for definite. You've experienced it. Same thing, if she don't apply her oil daily, that day she don't apply oil, she definitely gets a headache. You understand? So if that's a clear matter, then it's permissible for her. لأن الغالب كالواقع, because that which will most probably happen is like it is definitely happening, right? وكذا لبس الحرير إذا احتاجت إليه لعذر لا بأس به, and likewise the wearing of silk when she needs it because of an excuse, then there is no harm. In other words, if she's not going to wear silk now, right? Silk is going to beautify her, right? So she's supposed to not beautify herself. But if she don't wear silk, then her body now reacts to other cloths. You understand? And it breaks out into a rash. Then she's allowed to wear the silk. ولا yeah. ولا تخضب بالحناء لما روينا, and she won't apply mehndi because of what we have narrated. ولا تلبس ثوبا مصبوغا بعصفر ولا بزعفران, and she won't wear clothes which are dyed with I think this is safflower and no with saffron. لأنه يفوح منه رائحة الطيب, because the smell of perfume emanates from it. قال ولا حداد على كافرة, and there is no mourning upon a kafira لأنها غير مخاطبة في حقوق الشرع, because she is not addressed with the rights of the Sharia. So the kafira, she can adorn herself, right? ولا على صغيرة لأن الخطاب موضوع عنها, no upon a small girl, because the address is relaxed from her. She's not addressed by the Sharia, right? وعلى الأمة الإحداد, and upon the female slave is mourning. لأنها مخاطبة بحقوق الله تعالى فيما ليس فيه إبطال حق المولى, because she has been addressed with the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in those situations in which there is not the cancelling of the right of the master. بخلاف المنع عن الخروج, now contrary to preventing her from coming out of the house. Now you say, no, she can't. The slave girl must go into, she also observe iddat, and she'll also have to leave out adornment, right? But she can't go out of the house. Why? لأن في إبطال حقه, because if she's not going to be allowed to go out of the house, then indeed in it there is a cancellation of the right of the master. You understand it? So she's allowed to go out of the house. Right. وَحَقُّ الْعَبْدِ مُقَدَّمٌ لِحَاجَتِهِ. And the right of the of a slave, in other words, of man, is preceded due to his need. Allah doesn't need us to fulfill his rights or hukukullah. You understand? Allah doesn't need us. But man needs one another to fulfill their rights. You understand? If you don't fulfill that man's right, then he's going to suffer. But Allah is free from that, right? وليس في عدة أم الولد ولا في عدة النكاح الفاسد إحداد فاسد إحداد. And there is not in the iddat of the walad. Walad, in other words, the master died now, right? Now, she must observe 3 hays. She got a child from the master, she's walad. So now the master died, so she's now free now. So must observe 3 hays, right? And likewise, the iddat of a fasid nikah, there is no mourning there. لأنها ما فاتها نعمة النكاح لتظهر التأسف, right? Because the ni'mat of nikah hasn't been lost on her. She didn't lose the ni'mat of nikah. The one was the master died. They were not married, right? Obviously, he can't be married. It's master and slave girl, right? And the other is fasid nikah, so that's not a proper nikah. So she didn't lose the ni'mat of nikah, so that she can, so that she have to make apparent this regret here of losing the nikah. Wal ihbahatu aslun, and the asal is ibaha. In other words, adornment. Allowing a person to do adornment is for a woman to adorn herself. That is permissible always, right? Unless you've got you've got proof to say otherwise. You understand? So the asal is ibaha. The asal is that the woman should be allowed to adorn herself. So until you don't have full proof that she can't adorn herself, until then she'll be allowed to adorn herself. You understand it? Right. ولا ينبغي أن تختبر mu'taddatu, and it's not proper that a woman in iddat be proposed for. ولا بأس بالتعريض في الخدمة, and there is no harm with hinting in proposing. لقوله تعالى, because Allah Ta'ala said, ولا جناح عليكم فيما عرضتم به من خدمة النساء. There's no harm upon you in that which you hint at from the or indicate with to the proposal of woman. Until Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَكِنْ لَا تُوَاعِدُوهُنَّ سِرًّا. However, do not make any firm agreement with her in quiet. إِلَّا أَن تَقُولُوا قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا, except that you say some kind words. So you can hint at, so she's in iddate wafat, and she's in iddate bain. You can hint only. You can't make firm promises. You got that? You understand it? You can hint, but you can't make firm promises. Why are they saying this? Because if she's in iddat raji, it's haram to hint also. You got it now? Because she's still in the iddat of her previous husband. She's still in his nikah almost. You understand it? So therefore, when it's only iddat wafat and iddat bain, you can hint and you can say some kind words, but you can't make a firm pledge. Qala alayhi salam, asiru an nikah. Nabi Akram says, sirya means to make a nikah. You can't make a nikah with in a iddat. وقال ابن Abbas, التعريض أن يقول إني أريد أن أتزوج. Ibn Abbas is what is like indicating is that he will say, I intend to marry. So you're telling I intend to marry, but not saying we must marry and we're going to get married. One Said bin Jubair fil qawli ma'ruf, inni fiki la raghibun wa inni uridu an najtami'a. And from Sayyid bin Jubair, what does qawli ma'ruf mean? That I have a desire in regards to you, and I hope that we can gather. So this is not a firm promise, you understand? Leave it till there. You show your desire, you hint to her without making a firm